Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Queenly Vibes, aka Run Trail, and I am back with another video. I've been out due to I had to have a procedure done, surgery and everything, but thanks be to God, I am, feeling a lot better. And I do want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And before we get started with the video, I would like to say just go ahead and share it. Give me the thumbs up. Go ahead and like it. And thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for your support. And I certainly appreciate it. And I would like to say, based on, a lot of things that's going on in the world, we had the passing of DMX. There's another young lady from Baldwin Hills that passed today, I believe, or I heard about it today. Ashley Guerin, or Guerin Ashley, I believe, from Baldwin Hills. I used to watch the show years ago when it first aired. Beautiful young lady, and I'd just like to send my condolences to her family, and also my condolences to DMX's family and supporters around the world. The thing is, when I was clubbing and when I was out there, DMX was played in heavy rotation at that time. So I was a DMX fan back in the day, but I have given my life to Christ. So I listen to things, different music now, and it's not, definitely not looking down on him or anything, because we all have, our different issues that we're battling and things of that nature. All I'm going to say is stay close to the Lord, seek the Lord today while he can be found, and put your trust in him and put no one above him. But my condolences. Okay, so let's jump into this movie. The movie is entitled Lust. It was a Lifetime movie that aired, I think it was Saturday, I want to say. And it was a pretty good movie, great message. We're all, like I just said, we're all battling something, and there's temptation out there that we have to be mindful of. So this was a good message with this movie, and let's just stay prayerful, let's stay kind to one another, let's walk in the love of Jesus Christ. Let's jump into this movie. Let me give you guys my opinions and all of that good stuff. I'm just going to read a little bit of the plot, and I'll go over the movie, bits and pieces and everything. Let's jump into this. So the plot of the movie was, let me just read a little bit. The official synopsis for Lust, a 7 deadly sins, starring Carrie Hilson, which played Tiffany, is about to have the wedding of her dreams to her soulmate, the dashing Damon King, played by Tobias Trevelyan, I believe, which is the founder of King Enterprises. But when Damon's old friend Trey, played by Darrell Tank Babs, arrives, fresh from prison, to step into Damon's, to step into the character as Damon's best man, Tiffany's whole world gets rocked. Okay, so that's basically the plot of the movie. So Carrie Hilson, I know she used to be an R&B singer back in the day. I really didn't follow her music that much, and now I do see that she's stepping into acting and everything, and I thought she was pretty okay. Gorgeous girl and everything. I thought she did pretty okay. It was one part in there that I kind of, I'm a bit goofy here and there, so I kind of giggled, and I was just like, okay, Carrie, a couple of more acting sessions would be nice, but I guess she's just starting out with the whole acting thing. I did see her in another movie that was kind of similar to this or something, and I didn't watch the whole movie. I ended up watching something else, but it wasn't too bad. The actor that played her husband, I was just swooned. This guy is just gorgeous. I wouldn't have been trying to leave him for nobody, And of course, Tank is handsome and all of that, but it was like the movie kind of just made me chuckle a little bit here and there. I thought it was, I thought certain parts was like really funny. I'm like, really, really, Tank? Okay. Anyhow, so the movie comes on, and her and her fiance. First and foremost, she had been with him for a while, and they got together at the workplace, I believe. And she was like, the church girl and everything. And he was out there. He was the bad boy. He was out there in the streets and, doing his thing or what have you. And he found this young lady that was decent, the whole church girl and stuff like that. And she, he was her only, her first and her only, and I think she was upset because she had vowed to, before, she wanted to make sure that they were married before they got intimate and everything. And they had broken those vows, and it happens, but however, it can be difficult when you're trying to live for Christ and you break those vows, expect for things to be difficult at that point, because it's just a lot that goes into that, and this is basically what happened to the both of them. Anyway, so she, it started out, they were, they were kind of getting a little physical and stuff like that. And she was, I guess she was feeling a little bit more confident with her sexuality to say certain things to him and certain things that he wasn't comfortable with, because he actually had to stop her and tell her that, listen, babe, I don't need for you to be kinky. That was a part of my past. Let's not go there or what have you. But she wanted to go there. She wanted to explore some things, in their sex life and all of that he pretty much was done away with. Like, in other words, he had ran the streets, he done been, with different women. He was out there. She was only with him. So she was a little bit more curious as to, certain things, you know what I mean? And he kind of like just, stopped her a little bit. Hang on a second. So he kind of just, put the brakes on certain, little things that she wanted to do, and everything. And so she was frustrated because she kind of, felt like she didn't have anything to compare her sex life to. She didn't know whether Damon was the best for her or not. She was curious. She wanted to, I honestly believe she just wanted to be with other men before she settled down and got married to him. Does it make it right? No. But again, this is what happens when, you break those vows and you have sex before marriage, and, you really should have that committed relationship with your partner and be best friends and, all of that. And put your trust in the Lord so that the intimacy can be just as equal as the relationship. You know what I mean? Anyhow, so I'm going to try to go on with this without being overly preachy, but it is what it is, So she felt like it was something, missing for her. He on the other hand was pretty, fulfilled. He was fulfilled with her. He was ready to settle and get married and everything. So it's kind of like, she did have it all because, she had this wonderful man that, he wasn't perfect, but he was ready to, be her husband and move forward in their lives and stuff like that. Anyhow, so so Tank comes from out of jail. He spent like 7 years in prison, and Damon was like his brother. They were, best friends like brothers. So there was an issue following, I'm just going to call him, what was his name? Trey, which was played by Tank. Trey had an issue with Damon following him going to prison. I guess he felt like Damon left him out to dry. You know what I mean? And so there was some beef there. So Trey was actually harboring these feelings about it, and he wanted to seek revenge on Damon. And this is what we find out later on through the movie, that he really wanted to just seek revenge on Damon, and he wanted to hurt him, right? So Damon tells his fiance Tiffany that he needed to pick up Tank from the airport, this, that, and the third, whatever. He was going to put Trey up, and he put him up in this nice hotel, and I guess just to give him a new start at life and everything, and so on and so forth. So why Damon was so trusting with his fiance, with his homeboy, I have no clue. It just kind of seemed like Damon was just a little too trusting. It's like, to me, he didn't pay attention to the signs that Tiffany gave him that she was unhappy. And then you're gonna just be so trusting with your homeboy that was locked up for 7 years in prison, and you're gonna entrust that, with your fiance. I was kind of like, that seems a little unrealistic to me. But I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll see how it goes. So, he's like, oh yeah, pick him up from the airport and everything. So she actually ended up forgetting to pick him up from the airport. She got sidetracked doing something else, like wedding stuff, whatever. Because mind you, they were planning their wedding, and oh yeah, she also had a business and everything. So she was busy between her business and trying to plan for the wedding and all that sort of stuff. So Tank, I'm gonna keep calling him Tank. It's a firefly in here. So he ends up showing up at the house. And, she had just had breakfast, and she had eaten like some vanilla yogurt, and she had it on the side of her mouth or whatever. Certain parts to me, I thought it was like so corny. I'm like, really, guys? I thought certain parts, it was just a little corny. So, she answers the door with like this yogurt on the side of her mouth and everything. And, it's Tank. And they really tried to have Tank coming in like this, like this scrumptious sex symbol that was just so hot that we just couldn't take it, or whatever. I'm like, okay, yes, Tank is attractive or whatever, but it was just funny to me, he's coming all in with his eyes all slanted and, just like, yeah, Like, yeah, I know you've been waiting on me your whole life, type of vibe. And I'm like, okay. So he's standing there at the door, and she's like, yeah, may I help you? Whatever. And he's like, oh, hi, I'm Trey. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I was supposed to pick you up, and all of that or whatever. So he just looks at her and puts his finger on the side of her mouth with the yogurt and kind of just dabs it and tastes it. And she's just like, and he's like, vanilla yogurt. And she's like, yeah, and he's like, And she's like, what's wrong with vanilla yogurt? And he's like, oh, it's boring, whatever. I'm just like, who does that? Like, that should have been a red flag to her right away that he was up to no good. You know what I mean? And she should have just told her fiance that this guy basically made a pass at me. You know what I mean? But she didn't because, I feel like, honestly, he caught her at the right time. You know what I mean? He caught her at, he caught her at the time of being vulnerable, being curious. And so, I guess all of this was just a little exciting to her because it kind of seemed like she got a little bored with her fiance. And, he just didn't fulfill her in certain areas, and she just became like really curious. So this was something new to her, and, she just kind of just went with it, whatever. So all of the flirting and all of that progressed. They were down at her place of work and everything. And Tank is there. So it was something happening with the lighting or the electricity or whatever. So Tank volunteers to, work for her and everything. So it's just like he just kind of inserted himself with her the best that he could. He just constantly wanted to be around her, and, she didn't push it. She was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So her fiance did tell her that he didn't want Tank to work for her because he had another job for him and everything. And so she ended up hiring him anyhow behind her fiance's back. And it was supposed to have been a secret until she was able to, just tell him in her own time. Hold that thought. So she was trying out her products because her company was like some essential oils and everything. So she made different type of scented oils or what have you. And what was she doing actually? Oh yeah, she was just she was sampling the different oils, and she was like watching a video, trying to do a sample, so on and so forth. So Tank walks in while she's doing this tutorial or, whatever, watching a video. So he's looking over everything. He's looking over the oils, and he's like, may I? Or what have you. So he's smelling the oils, and then, the next thing you know, he's dabbing it on her neck and, smelling it. And she's just like, just like his slightest touch, she's so mesmerized and everything. And like I said, I honestly believe it really could have been any man for her, just as long as it was another man that she could just, I don't know, fulfill her fantasies or what have you, and he just happened to be at the right place at the right time, So, they had this little flirt thing going on back and forth with that. So then she started to fantasize about him, so on and so forth. And, it just got worse and worse with the flirting, and she didn't turn it down. She hired him anyhow, like I said, behind her fiance's back. And Damon, her fiance, had set up a taste testing. I think this was for the wedding, if I'm not mistaken, or I think he said something about a food truck or what have you. But anyhow, it was a taste testing, and she was supposed to had been there. But Tank buys her lunch, and she just so mesmerized by him. So she had lunch with him. They kind of started messing around, kissing and doing all this sort of stuff. And she ended up missing the taste test with her fiance. And LaToya Luckett was in the movie too, And that really hurt Damon, because he did sort of he started to pick up that she was a little different with him. At one point he even asked her, he was like, do you still love me? And she was like, of course I do, silly, or what have you. But he did notice that she was preoccupied, and it's like her mind was somewhere else. You know what I mean? And that's normally the giveaway when you're with someone, you know their behaviors. It's something that it's just, you pick up intuitively that something's off. When your partner is cheating, even if you don't have the proof right in front of you, that there's something going on. Something is different. They're going to behave differently. No matter, how cool they try to portray themselves, something is just not going to add up. And you're just going to feel it intuitively, And I think that's what he sensed. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely true, So anyhow, things go on, and I'm just going to, make a long story short, what else ended up happening? So yeah, it was getting close to the time for them to get married. She had went through her bridal shower party and everything, and she even asked the girls, have you ever wanted to step out on your husband or your boyfriend? And they were brutally honest and everything. And and they ended up, her one close friend gave her some really good advice and everything. And they told her, oh, it's natural, it's normal, this, that, and the third. But, they did reassure her that, you have a good man, don't mess it up, and all of that. Okay. So, she had the party. So, I believe at the rehearsal dinner, Trey, he told her that he would be at the bar up until midnight. He was going to wait for her and everything, because he really wanted to just go ahead and hook up with her. But you know what? The thing about it is, I knew all along, I knew he was a snake, first and foremost. But I couldn't put my finger on it, the reason why he wanted to sleep with her so badly, or I knew it was something a little bit more than him just being in lust for her. She was clearly in lust, but I knew it was something different for Trey, portrayed by Tank. I knew it was something different for him. I just kind of felt like, well, maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe because, maybe he's jealous of Damon and he wanted to, just fulfill his ego and just be like, yeah, man, I could have had your woman or what have you, which it ended up being part of that, his ego. But it was really, basically he wanted to get revenge back on Damon, because he felt like, Damon left him, out to dry, whatever the beef that they had back in the day while they were working together, and, what have you. He felt like some things didn't go his way and that Damon didn't have his back. So he just wanted to be grimy. He wanted to be nasty and just completely hurt Damon. And he knew that would be one of the ways to get him. So anyhow, she ended up going to the hotel and everything to meet with him. And, they get all into it. They go into his room and everything. And Trey did the things that she liked that Damon wouldn't do. She was able to do like this dirty talk she wanted to do, and just, all this sort of stuff that Damon was just done and over with, what have you. But Trey gave her that. So right when it came down to it, he just was like, how bad do you want me? This, that, and the third. And she's like, oh yeah, I want you, and blah, 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 whatever. And he was like, well, how would Damon, like it if he could see you now? What would Damon think? And she's just like, she completely snapped out of it. It was like he blew her high. She completely snapped out, and she was just like, what? Why would you say that to me? Or what have you? And he was just like, well, on your wedding night, make sure you think about me, or what have you. And, I was just like, you know what? In a way, that's good for her. It was good for her because she just let it go too far. You know what I mean? And that would have completely, ruined her relationship with Damon, which I thought it did, what have you. But this is my thing. I'm so glad that the movie ended up, it ended. Well, let me just tell you guys what happened. So, because this is a spoiler alert, by the way. So, the cat was out of the bag. She almost went through with marrying Damon, but, she had to let him know that she cheated on him. She didn't say with who. All of the dirty laundry was aired out and everything. They went through all of that. She even, she went back and she prayed for Tank and everything. She just had to rededicate her life back to the Lord and get back in a space with God where she needed to be, because she had some issues that she was dealing with. And, the thing about it is, like I said, it happens, and, it can happen to any of us. You know what I mean? And men aren't the only ones that cheat. Sometimes women cheat. Sometimes women go through things that, maybe men feel like we're not supposed to go through, So it's not always about the men cheating. Women go through things as well. But my thing about it is, I was so glad that Damon ended up giving her another chance and everything, so that they could work their relationship out and not just throw it away. Because we as women, we put up with certain things that we shouldn't put up with, you know what I mean? And yes, I do believe in being forgiving and all of that. But, if you see like a person isn't willing to, you can't make a person change. Either they want to be in a committed relationship or not, and you just can't have it both ways. You can't have a committed relationship, then go out there and cheat and do whatever you want to do and stuff like that. That's just not the way that a relationship goes. You know what I mean? And nowadays, it's so many different types of relationships, but the relationship that pleases God is between a man and a woman, committed in a marriage, having your own personal union and everything the way that God created it, So that's the relationship that matters. Now, anything else besides that, folks are really truly living in their own lust. They just want to do whatever they want to do. Let's just call it what it is. And I feel like I don't agree to it, but my thing is, if you're going to live that way, you have to be honest with the people that are involved, because everyone doesn't want to be a partaker in those type of relationships. So you have to let a person know what you're about, what you're into, because there's a lot going on in the world today. And I know I definitely wouldn't want to be a part of of a relationship like that. Anyhow, so I was very happy. Yeah, Tank and Damon, they did have it out. They fought, all of that. He basically told him, listen, I better not see your face again. All of that went down. And at the end, Tiffany and Damon, they ended up getting married. And, they had a bundle of joy at the end, and they did move into a different home. So, I do like the twist to that it was the woman that had the issues and the man had to be forgiven, because a lot of times, it seems like if the woman steps out and cheat, the man can't be forgiven. Like he just can't, he just wants to kill her. You know what I mean? He wants to kill her. He can't ever deal with her again. She's a whore. But yet and still, we have to be so forgiven. We have to be the ride or die and deal with a man that's doing all these different things. And it's like, no, says who? You know what I mean? You shouldn't be with someone that's going to affect your self-esteem, your self-worth, that have you stressed out and things of that nature. No, it's unacceptable. So honestly, I personally feel like if any of you are in relationships like that, and again, I'm not a counselor or a therapist. I just walk in the spirit of wisdom. I let the mistakes that I've made in the past, I like to turn that into giving wisdom to women and, to men as well, but definitely towards women. Don't accept that. You know what I mean? Don't accept relationships like that. There is someone for everyone. You know what I mean? Put your trust in the Lord. Know and understand your worth. And, no one's that great that you have to put up with certain things, just to be with this person. It's not worth it. Love yourself. And, love God, put God first. He wouldn't have for you to be in these type of relationships that will stress you out, right? There are godly men out here. There are men of God